It's my pleasure to welcome you to this interesting and educative platform, Literature Hub 247, a free online literature class. In this video, we are going to review one of the recommended texts in the WAEC 2026 to 2030 syllabus. And the drama text is titled An Inspector Calls. Is a non-African drama written by J.B. Priestley. Earlier on this platform, I've discussed the plot summary, the act-by-act analysis, the character analysis, as well as the dramatic techniques. So you can request for any of this video on An Inspector Calls through the comment section, and I will send the link to you. So this particular video is about whether the text is a comedy, tragedy, or tragi-comedy. I think we know that the three major types of drama we have are comedy, tragedy, or tragi-comedy. So you don't want to identify where this text belongs. An Inspector Calls, a comedy, tragedy, or tragi-comedy. First of all, I want to explain the meaning of what comedy is, what tragedy is, and what is tragi-comedy, so that we know where An Inspector Calls belong. What is comedy? Comedy is a literary genre and dramatic work that aims to amuse and entertain, usually ending on a happy or light-hearted note. There will be humorous situations, witty dialogue, or satirical commentary. There will be humorous situations. There will be a lot of humor, witty dialogue, or satirical commentary. Now, tragedy. What is tragedy? Tragedy is a serious and somber genre where the protagonist experiences a significant downfall, often due to a personal flaw, tragic flaw, or amasia, or fate. The central character, that is the tragic hero, faces moral dilemmas or fatal choices. It often ends in death, ruin, or profound suffering. I think if you have read the text, you know that Eva Smith is the central character here. She is the protagonist, and we know what happens to her in the text. What is tragi-comedy? Tragi-comedy blends elements of both tragedy and comedy. While it involves serious themes and potentially tragic situations, it avoids a tragic ending and often ends with hope, relief, or mixed emotion. That is, there will be the admixture of comedy and tragedy at the end of the play. Now, let's look into An Inspector Calls to know where it belongs. Tragic elements in An Inspector Calls. We want to identify the tragic element, that is the scenes, the events that are tragic in An Inspector Calls. 1. The downfall of Eva Smith, that is the death of Eva Smith. Eva Smith's story is the emotional and tragic center of the play. She suffers a series of misfortunes at the hands of the Billings family. Losing her job, being used and abandoned by Gerald, and being denied her by Mrs. Billings, leading to her eventual suicide. She commits suicide because of her experience with these people. You remember, the Billings family is indicted in the death of Eva Smith. Although Billings, the father, is Billings, his wife, Sheila Billings, his daughter, Eric Billings, his son, as well as fiancé of Sheila, that is Gerald Croft. They are all indicted in the death of Eva Smith by Inspector Gould. Though she never appears on stage, she presents the invisible suffering of the lower class. She represents the invisible suffering of the lower class. That is, she represents the lower class in the narrative, making her both a symbolic and tragic figure. 2. moral consequences and guilt. The inspector forces, that is, Inspector Guru, forces each character to confront the consequences of their actions, creating moments of personal reckoning, shame, and guilt. Sheila and Eric, in particular, show real remorse, highlighting the tragic moral awakening in contrast to the pride and denial of their parents. Sheila and Eric accepted that they have done something wrong, but their parents are in the opposite. 3. Serious themes. The play deals with heavy themes such as class inequality, responsibility, selfishness, social injustice, and hypocrisy. Priestley's message that we are members of one body is tragic in its revelation, that ignoring these truths leads to destruction, as symbolized by Eva's death. What Priestley decided to bring out in the text is that we are all one. We are members of one body. 4. The ending's ambiguity. The ending's ambiguity. Even after the family believed the inspector was a hoax, that is, the inspector is fake, the final phone call announces a real inspector is on the way to question them about a girl's suicide. This unexpected twist restored the serious tone, suggesting that justice and tragedy cannot be escaped. That is, the text ended on the note of a dilemma. The family is in dilemma when they were called that an inspector is on the way to question them about the girl's suicide. Now let's look at the comic element in an inspector call. Do we have any comic element there? Let's look into the text. Satire of the upper class. Satire of the upper class. Mr. Billing is comically arrogant and pompous, confidently predicting that the Titanic is unsinkable and that there will be no war. Statement that the 1945 audience knew to be false. His self-importance and obsession with status make him an object of ridicule. Priestley uses irony to show how out of touch the capitalist class can be. Remember, Billy is a capitalist, so he's defending his class. 2. Dramatic irony. The play is full of dramatic irony, especially in Mr. Billing's speeches. He claims that a man has to mind his own business just before the inspector arrives to show how interconnected lives really are. That's what he was discussing with his family before the arrival of Inspector Gould, that a man has to mind his own business. So you don't have to dabble with another person's problem. You mind your own business. That is according to Billing. This irony creates both humor and criticism, allowing the audience to laugh at, yet judge the characters' ignorance. 3. Generational contrast. Sheila and Eric's moral growth contrasts sharply with their parents' stubbornness. The parents' inability to change comes across as absurd and laughable, particularly when they immediately celebrate the idea that the inspector might be a hoax. The attempt to save face create moments of comedic tension and highlight the ridiculousness of social appearance. They don't want to agree that they have done something wrong when their children agree to that. That is Sheila and Eric. 4. Tension relieving moments. Tension relieving moments. The play's dialogue includes witty exchanges, especially from the inspector and Sheila, which offer brief comic relief amid heavy scenes. That is, the interaction between the inspector and Sheila is somehow comical. It's full of comics utterances from the two of them. Gerald's awkward attempt to explain himself to Sheila also add a layer of light comedy before the tone turns serious again. When Gerald also is indicted, and he also confessed to meeting Eva Smith, Sheila tried to cut the relationship between the two of them, and a sort of comic scene is seen in their interaction in that scene. Now let's look at an Inspector Call. Why is it a tragi-comedy? We have looked into the comedy, we have identified comedy, we have identified tragedy in the text, that is tragic scene and comic scene. Now, can we say it's a tragi-comedy? Why is it a tragi-comedy? Let's look into it. Eva Smith's death and the resulting moral chaos reflect tragedy. The death of Eva Smith, as you know, that event runs from beginning to the end of the text. The mocking of the building families, ignorance and pride provides comic relief and satirical insight. The play ends not with a total resolution, but with a twist, hinting that justice will still be served. Remember, they received a phone call. A phone call at the end of the text that a police officer is on the way. Priestley uses comedy not to entertain alone, but to expose social injustice, making it purposeful and deeply linked to the tragic lesson. So, An Inspector Calls by J.B. Priestley is a tragic comedy. Please, if you are new on this platform, try and click on the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you'll be part of this class. And whenever any video is produced, you are going to be notified. You are free to share my video on any social media platform. Invite your friends and colleagues to join us. Like this video, like it just to encourage me. So, and if you have any question, just make your request to the comment section and it will be attended to. Let me also tell you that all the recommended texts in the 2026 to 2030 syllabus are already reviewed fully, comprehensively on this platform, as well as all the poems. Just you can make your request for any of these texts. Just write in the comment section that I'll send you the link of social text, maybe the plot summary, the themes, the dramatic techniques, narrative techniques, or any other thing. It might be poem, drama, or prose. Thank you. Let's meet in the next class.